There is complicated stuff going on between these characters. Now he wants to bite. I've been eyeing it every time I go there. I look at it, and this time I was like, I have a gift card. I finished this today, so I read it all basically in one day because I'm liking it. So I don't know what to do about that because I love so many books right now. Hello! So today I'm going to be vlogging, maybe this whole week. Today's my birthday. It's my birthday week. I thought I'd vlog a couple of things I'm doing and what I've been reading as I go on this beautiful walk. So far this week, I have been mostly reading Soulless by Gail Carriger. This was, I picked up on recommendation from Leandra, the TBR0. And basically, as soon as I finally decided to add it to my digital TBR, like to my Goodreads TBR, I noticed that one of the book clubs I'm in from time to time is actually reading it for November. And they meet just about next week. So, perfect timing. It's a really fun book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 60% of the way through, and I'm gonna keep reading it hopefully a little bit today, maybe even finish it today if I feel up to it. But yeah, it's super fun. Vampires, werewolves, and other supernatural beings in kind of a steampunk-y, late Victorian era England. So much fun. The other book that I really want to read today is When Did You See Her Last? This is the sequel to Who Could That Be at This Hour? I mentioned the first book when I reread it a couple weeks ago. Even maybe not even like a week ago, a week and a half ago. But these are books by Lemony Snicket. They are a little bit after his series of unfortunate events. And the main character is Lemony Snicket. They're kind of fictionally autobiographical of the character Lemony Snicket, not the author. That is a pen name. Anyway, mysterious, a little bit goofy, but a lot of fun. So those are the two books I'm hoping to read on my actual birthday. And then I will keep you updated for the rest of the week. I'm also in the middle of The Black Guy Dies First, Black Horror Cinema from Fodder to Oscar, which I'm reading on recommendation of Books and Lala, Kayla from Books and Lala. And I'm really enjoying it. I would say it's like a little bit too much of a coffee table book for me in that the chapters are a little bit repetitive because they're covering a lot of the same history just through different lenses. So you hear about the same movies over and over and over again, and I totally get that, but it's a little bit not as much fun to read when you're reading it all the way straight through like I am. But I'm almost done with that, so I might finish that in the next couple of days too. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's a beautiful forest, and I might also do some fun things like bake some pumpkin bread tonight. I don't know, we'll see. So I'll see you there. Right now, oh, the last thing, I was just about to mention this, but then I totally forgot. I'm also listening to Dracula. I'm sometimes immersion reading it, sometimes just listening to the audio, occasionally just reading it. But while I'm on my walk, I thought I would listen to some audio. So I'm in about chapter 7 or 8, I think, and I'm really enjoying that too. So yay, I'll get back to my audiobook. Hey, so it is the next day. It's unfortunately no longer my birthday. I thought I might vlog more, but I just didn't really end up doing it. I did make a cake with my friend. It was a pumpkin chocolate chip cake. I'll insert a picture of it. It was very tasty. I have a lot of it left in my fridge, and I'm excited to eat some more tonight. But yeah, we made cake, we read for a while. I ended up finishing Soulless by Gail Carriger. I really enjoyed this book. I just had so much of a fun time. I definitely want to continue on in the series and see what happens with the relationship in here and if there are more relationships to follow or what. But yeah, I had a super fun time, and it's kind of funny because I'm in a lot of book clubs, and this is a book club pick for next week, and the book club pick for the book club I'm in this week, I have barely started, so I need to get started on that sometime, probably not today, even though that leaves me only 2 days. Okay, probably today, although that one's not as long, but yeah, I finished reading that. And then we just kind of hung out. We ended up watching Psycho, which was kind of fun. I had never seen it before. And anyway, late last night I started When Did You See Her Last? This was the other book that I was really looking to get into reading. This is a series that I absolutely adore from my adolescence by Lemony Snicket. I just think these are so fun. They're so well crafted. They're so clever. They're written almost like a little bit of a faux noir, I'm kind of realizing, I guess. And I don't know, I just feel like the writing has such great style to it, and it really uses language in a very interesting, intentional way. I feel like it's definitely written for, like, I think its target audience are like maybe, I don't know, 10 to 14-year-olds, but it really holds up. It's just the way it uses different kinds of vocabulary and repetition and kind of talking around things, because there's all these kind of mysterious things happening. I just love them so much. I also love the covers and the illustrations in the books themselves. And this one is all purple, and I love purple, so that was fun. But yeah, and I finished this today. So I read it all basically in one day, because I started maybe the first 10 pages of it last night and then read the rest today. And these books read so fast because there really are not that many words on each of the pages, and they're middle grade, but I love them so much, and I definitely want to keep going. There are only 4 books in the series, and I feel like my memory gets worse and worse towards the end of the series, and I don't necessarily remember how it all wraps up, so, or if it even does. So we will see. I'll probably put in a request for the next one from my library in the next couple days. That's where I am on those books. I'm gonna keep vlogging for a while and see how this vlog turns out, but yeah, let me talk to you about what I might be reading soon. As usual, I have way too many books that I just pulled, but starting with the ones that I'm currently in the middle of. One is The Elements of Style. This one's a little unusual because it is a style guide, but it is a beloved style guide. I think it's like the only style guide to ever make it to the New York Times bestselling list or something. This is the edition both updated by E.B. White and illustrated by Myra Coleman. So it is Strunk White and Coleman. This is just so delightful. I don't know, I just think the way that the authors write about language, and specifically its use in formal writing, is really great. There's a lot of humor in it. Like this one, for example, prestigious. So this is a section that's talking about words that are, and phrases that are often misused or poorly used. So that's the cat being lonely. Prestigious, often an adjective of last resort. It's in the dictionary, but that doesn't mean you have to use it. So anyway, it is really fun to read and interesting. It's made me reflect a lot on a lot of the writing I did in college. Tober, come here. Psst, psst. And kind of making me want to go back and write some more. Hello. And anyway, I will probably finish this within the next couple of days, so you might see that, you might not. Next is The Black Guy Dies First. I did talk about this in my intro clip. This is a nonfiction about horror movies, and it's really interesting. It's not always written, let me say this. It's written to be read in any order, and like, so that each chapter is a self-contained look into Black horror movies from a different perspective. So for example, this chapter is called Woke Horror, Social Consciousness and Black Horror. So this talks about like basically the entire history of horror cinema, with Black characters, Black directors, Black writers, specifically focusing on social consciousness. Another chapter later, let's see, this one is Gods and Monsters, Black Religion and Horror. So this is, again, basically the whole history of Black cinema and cinema with Black characters and Black directors, focusing on religion. So because it's written to be read that way, or such that you could consume it that way, it can be very repetitive. It will reintroduce the same movies over and over again. And also a lot of it is like lists of things, because it's trying to be very comprehensive. So like, here are a bunch of movies. This is the start of a list of a bunch of movies that used voodoo in a certain era, and it'll just kind of list them with titles and plots. And that can especially get repetitive if you've already seen those movies in a different list when they were talking about something else. So it's not the best book to like read altogether. It's one of those nonfictions that like needs to be read bit by bit over time, or in part, like never as a whole unit, maybe one chapter at a time and then put it down. I do think it's really good. It's really interesting. It's really comprehensive. It's just the way it's written is not really meant to be read the way I'm reading it. I'm really interested in it, which is why I want to keep reading it, but then I just end up reading this kind of the same things over and over again to an extent, because they come up in different contexts and the authors want to make sure that you can always understand what they're talking about, which is great. But yeah, I am close to it was a lot, but I'm close to the end of this, so I'm gonna try and finish this tonight. I think I'm in the last chapter, and then there's an epilogue and some little tidbits at the end. So that is going well. The third book that I'm in the middle of that I'm hoping to finish in the next week or so is Celestial Monsters. This is the second half of the Sunbearer Trials duology by Aiden Thomas. I liked the Sunbearer Trials, but it was not a favorite. I think I gave it a 3.75 4 type of rating. I just found the writing a little bit too goofy for me, especially for the high stakes of the universe, but I still wanted to continue. This just came out about a month ago and I have just barely started it. I'm maybe 10% of the way in. So far, it's very action-packed and I'm curious to see how it resolves, but I'm not like super in the groove with it, wanting to read it all the time. So we'll see. Okay, and then I picked a couple books that I really do want to read in October. So one is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This has been a big internet book, and I do own it. I do have the nice copy with the sprayed edges, and I do think it would be nice and cozy, especially for fall before we get into winter. I mean, that cover is very much even summery, but definitely could stay into fall. I'm very hopeful that I'll really like it, but I don't know. And I kind of want to read it like for my birthday month, but we'll see. It is a little bit harder for me to get the motivation to read books that I own because I don't have any kind of ticking clock. And this is not specifically a book I need to read this year for any of the challenges I have going on, so that's one that I may not get to. The other one is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This is a book that is part of one of my challenges. It's part of the Latina Literature Reading Challenge. It's basically just to read a book by a Latina author every month, which technically I could count this book for that too, but since I've already counted 2 Aiden Thomas books towards this challenge, I kind of want to diversify my author spread, and also because they're vampires. I know that they're not the most prominent thing about this book, but it just feels like a good one to read in October for Halloween. So yeah, I want to read this. I know there's also romance and there's kind of this cultural historical exploration, and I just want to read it. I really do, but I haven't been able to get myself to start it because I just feel like I'm in the middle of so many other things. I need to not dive into another thing, but I don't want to do that so much that I let it not get read in this month. So those are some priorities for the next week or so. So we will see where I go from here, but I think my top 2 are these guys. We will see. I had a good birthday and I'm excited about that, and I may make some dinner now. We will see. Update has been a few hours. Oh, he wants to say hi. Now he wants to bite. Well, it's been a couple hours. I have started reading Tell Me I'm Worthless, which is my book club book for Friday, and I'm a third of the way through, so that is going well. It's a horror book about a trans woman and her former friend and like a haunted house, and it's basically a lot about like UK transphobia and nationalism / like fascism. So it's interesting. It's definitely intense. And then I also might pick up this Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This is like, I guess, a graphic. He's sitting on my computer. My goodness. Thanks. Graphic adaptation of the movie? Or I don't know if this was made before the movie. I don't know. But I'm interested in reading it. I got it from my library, and it fulfills a TBR Harvest Escape the Haunted House prompt, which is a book to movie adaptation type of thing. So that's what's up on my reading docket. Hello, I am on my way to the library. This is this beautiful path on the way to the library, and I thought I should check in because I'm about to return some books. So I did read Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Volume 1. I do believe this is the manga that was released before the book. There's a lot more like political detail, which is really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue and read the full manga, but it was fun. I just find the aerial fight scenes really hard to follow in manga form, and it kind of just makes me want to watch the movie. So anyway, I also finished The Black Guy Dies First. Overall, really solid read. Same, I still had the issues that I brought up last time, but I would definitely recommend for people interested in horror or social issues Black representation in media, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm gonna return these to the library, and then I have 4 more books to pick up. I'm also returning When Did You See Her Last, which I mentioned in a couple clips ago, and a book that I didn't manage to get to that I picked up kind of on a whim, and I just want it off my shelves because I have enough books that I am more excited about reading right now. So yeah, I will check in later. Oh, I also finished Tell Me I'm Worthless for the book club tonight, so that was good. Good timing, good reading. It was really heavy, but I'm excited for the discussion. I think it'll be a really interesting discussion. So yeah, talk to you soon. Hello, hopefully this lighting is okay. I am trying my best. It is now Saturday night, so it's been over 24 hours since I last did a clip, and I thought I would update you on a couple of things. First of all, if you're curious what I got from the library, I got 4 books. First is Man-Made Monsters. It's part of an Indigenous authors reading challenge I'm trying to do this year, and I'm way behind, but this is the one for October, so it's finally in the library. It's been at home for like 2 months, but that's okay. I'm honestly not really sure what it is. I just know that it's following the same Cherokee family throughout many years, because I read the blurb when I was talking to my friend yesterday because I was like, I should probably know what this book is about. But hopefully I can get to it this month. I have already read a book from the challenge for this month, but that was the book for September, so I'm behind. It'd be great to read it this month, but I only have like 3 days left, so probably not, but I will read it this year. I also got The Stardust Thief. This is also a book I like to read by the end of the year. It's like a 1001 Nights retelling, something, I don't know. I'm excited. I hope it's good. I hope I like it. Fantasy, you know. I got Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This was on my list for a while, and then I saw like a Jewish Tumblr post, it's called Jumbler, about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I should read that book. So I put it on hold and it came in. This is like a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I don't know. I really like Naomi Novik's writing, and I really like Jewish folktales, so what's not to love? Maybe the fact that it's almost 500 pages and I have a lot of books I'd like to read, but I would really like to read it. And finally, another chunky fantasy, I got Jade City. I watched the Battle of the Booktubers round 2 recently, and one of the contestants read Jade City, and she had been putting it off for a while and she really loved it, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm really gonna love that, and I've been putting it off. So I put it on hold at the library, and then it came in a little bit faster than I would have liked, but that's okay. So those are the books I got from the library. And then I did a little bit of a birthday book haul when I went to the book club that I go to is at a bookstore. You don't have to buy anything to participate, but you can. And I got some gift cards for that bookstore for my birthday, so I picked up some books. One is The Wood at Midwinter by Susanna Clarke. This is, I believe, in the same universe as Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I read in August and I loved. And it came out on the 24th, so I picked it up because it's a very pretty edition. And it has a little signed piece of paper in it, so that was cool. Even though it's super short. I probably won't read this anytime soon. Maybe in the winter, maybe in January or December. I don't know. I also grabbed a copy of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet because I loved this book. I read it digitally, but I knew basically as soon as I read it that I would want a physical copy, and I just really loved these characters. I loved the vibes, the universe, the social issues it explored. I really adored this book. So now I have a copy, and I was kind of debating between 2 covers, which I liked best, but I do really like this one with the planet and the ship and the big words. I think it's really cool. Yay! And then finally, this was in the used section. The other 2 were new. Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. I have never read anything by Lindsay Ellis, but I love her video essays. I continue to rewatch them time and time again. I haven't seen her most recent one, but I'm gearing up for it. I just gotta get myself emotionally prepared and like in the right headspace. But I would really like to read her book, and I figure if I have a copy, I can take it at my own pace, and I kind of want to own a copy because I really like her. I don't know. So yeah, this was in good condition in the used section. I've been eyeing it every time I go there. I look at it, and this time I was like, I have a gift card, I can get it. Anyway, I still have a whole nother gift card, so there will be more books, but these 3 are what I got. I don't usually do book hauls, but I figure since I'm vlogging, I should. In terms of the reading, the most important part of this vlog, let's see, where do I start? Okay, first of all, I read Vampires of El Norte. I was really proud of myself because I kind of had an up and downy week, and so I decided to just like stay home for Friday night and Saturday morning. And Friday night, I was going into the night, I ate dinner before book club, so I came back from book club at like 8 and I had nothing to do. It was like 8:15, and I was like, okay, I'm getting on reading sprints and I'm reading Vampires of El Norte because I'm putting this book off. Like I said in the last clip,
or not the last cup, a while ago. I don't want to wait until the end of the month and be like, oh, I didn't get around to it because I felt like I was too busy. I'm like, I have the time. I think this is going to read fairly quickly. I think I can read this kind of in one go. I'm going to read it. So I did, and I really enjoyed it. I know this is not everyone's cup of tea. I know some people think there weren't enough vampires, or it was too slow, or it's too romance focused. I'm glad I went in on recommendation of My Name is Marinas, because I think she pitched this great. It is primarily romance, and the romance is great. I loved the romance. Very similar to what she said. I just rewatched her video, but very similar to what she said. This has some elements that might not usually work for me. I don't usually like miscommunication, but the miscommunication in this was like perfect. Like they're like, I think I'm gonna like quote her, but like there were outside factors going on aiding the miscommunication. It was not like the miscommunication in a contemporary romance where it's like, oh, you're just like not talking and that's really silly, like you should just like have stayed in that conversation for one more minute. Like there is complicated stuff going on between these characters. I really love these characters. I really liked Nena and Nestor, and it was really great. I also really liked the historical elements. I really like historical romance. I really like hearing about Mexico in this time period. This is actually the second book I've read in a similar location and time period this year. The last one I did not like quite as much, mostly because of the characters, but this one I did really like. It was really good, and I did think the vampires were cool and creepy. I liked what it was saying about the metaphor of vampires and the Anglo settlers, and I really liked it. I think this is like a 4.75. I did find the prose sometimes, which is like a little bit, I don't know, clunky in a couple places, but generally really good. And I didn't feel like it was like a complete 5-star, but I really liked this. I might consider trying to own this, and I definitely consider rereading this. The chemistry and the tension and the development of the romance in this was really good. So I really enjoyed this, and I read like 2/3 of it Friday night, woke up this morning, read the rest of it, and it was so satisfying. Okay, so after that high, I kind of didn't know what to do reading wise, so I jumped around to a couple of things. Well, first of all, Thursday night I was staying at my friend's house, and I brought this with me, and I did start it. This is a book that I would like to finish by the end of this year. It's another Naomi Noe book, and I do own it, and I don't know, I was just feeling it, so I brought it with me, and I did start it, and I'm liking it. So I don't know what to do about that because I'm in the middle of so many books right now, but I am really liking it, so that's nice. I will continue it sometime. After reading Vampires of El Norte, I picked up The Spell Shop to see if I could get into this. I was thinking maybe something a little spooky to something a little cozy, and I read about the first 3.5 chapters maybe, and I'm liking it. I wasn't feeling like in it, like I was feeling very distracted, which maybe is just because of the kind of day I was having, or because I had just finished Vampires of El Norte and I really liked it. I don't know. I definitely want to continue with it. I am 28 pages into it, but I'm not feeling like, oh, I'm so immersed in it, I just want to keep going. So that's why I'm holding off a little bit. I also started Buddha Volume 1. I'd like to finish this by the end of the month. I'm currently 156 pages into it because it reads really fast. It's a manga. I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's not really what I expected. It's a lot like goofier in a lot of ways. There's some more like slapstick, and I'm not really sure what the characters have to do with the Buddha story yet. I'm sure we will get there, but curious. So far there seems to be like a lot of kind of social religious commentary about like the caste system in India at the time and the role of them as like religious leaders, of the upper castes as religious leaders and like social leaders and stuff. So interesting. I will keep going. Finally, for a while today, I was back on my Dracula everything. I don't know. I am now on page 174. I'm 41% of the way through. I am still enjoying it. It got a little bit repetitive. This past section has been all about Lucy being sick, and then she gets a blood transfusion and she's doing fine, and then the night comes and she's sick. It's just like, it's a little bit repetitive. Things look dire for her, so I think that that's the repetitive stuff will end soon. But I was getting a little bit impatient, and then it switched to like another person's journal entry, and I just like was not following it, so I decided to put it down for the day. But I'm still liking it. I'm still hoping I can finish it by the end of the month. We will see. I'll have to pick it up, but I have some crafting in my future. I still have to make my Halloween costume, and so it might be the perfect thing to listen to while doing that. So that's what I've been doing. I will end this vlog soon, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll finish one more book and then I'll end it. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I'll see you soon. Hello, I'm back to finish this vlog. It is now 8-ish p.m. the next day after my last update, and I have finished 2 more books, and that's what I'm going to call it for this birthday week reading vlog. It has been 5 days since my birthday. I think it's been a pretty great reading week overall. I read some really great books. I made some progress in some books that I'm still working on, and I've had a really good time. So as of this update, I have finished The Elements of Style by Strunk, White, and Kallman. This is a reference text, so it's kind of funny to read it just like all the way through, but I did really enjoy it. It's written in a very clear and concise way, and also there's a lot of moments of humor, and I also really enjoyed sharing it with my grandfather, who really loves this book, and my aunt who's in town, and also she's a writer and has loved this book. So that was just overall a good time. I definitely am going to keep it on hand as a reference guide for writing and recommend it to people who are writing. So that was nice. This book is really short. I believe the original edition is something like 40 pages and the updated edition is something more like 80 pages. This one with all the illustrations and the new formatting is about 140 pages. I counted it, I think, as something around 130 pages in my personal tracking because that's how much I feel I read. But if you're looking for a text on writing that's just very clear and concise, this I feel like is the way to go. And I also finished Buddha Volume 1, Kapila Vastu. I really didn't know what to expect from this, and I still am very curious how these characters all fit together, but the Buddha has been born. I have read several versions of the story of the Buddha of Siddhartha before. For whatever reason, my family has been interested in Buddhism. We kind of had some things around, but this has a lot of characters I've never met before. I'm curious how they will relate. I do think I'll continue on in this series at some point, but it's not necessarily a high priority. It is very easy to read. It's a manga. It goes quickly, there's a lot of action, and also it seems like maybe some cool insights or explorations of the kind of theological things that are happening at the time and the kind of implications, like what the Buddha is gonna add to philosophically and religiously to the world once he grows up and is able to do those things. So interesting, not what I expected. But yeah, and this is this is exactly 400 pages. It ends on page 400 at the very end. We will see when I eventually get back to that. So that brings my total number of books read this month up to 23, which I feel really happy with a couple more days left in the month. Since I started filming this video, I have read Soulless, When Did You See Her Last, The Black Guy Dies First, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind Volume 1, Tell Me I'm Worthless, Vampires of El Norte, Elements of Style, and Buddha Volume 1. So 8 books in 5 days. I feel really happy with that, and that's pretty wild. Even though some of the books were short, some of them I was already mostly done with, but yeah, I'm still kind of working out this reading vlog thing, so if there's anything you particularly liked about this or think that I should change, I'm always trying to improve, and I will see you with my November TBR pretty darn soon. Bye!